burn fat, build muscle, improve your cardiovascular health with resistance training, mental conditioning, martial arts, yoga, and sports-specific performance enhancement. Train in your home, on Fitness Blitz certified equipment, or in your local gym. Take the Fitness Blitz Challenge. Begin every day by pushing your limits and taking control of your life. Grab life by the horns and reach for your ideal potential. Dive into a new concept in total health and competitive activity. Challenge yourself to be better and dare not to fail with Fitness Blitz. Learn more at www.fitnessblitztv or by calling 917-804-6589. Begin your quest to be your best with Fitness Blitz today. You're listening to Jim Dynamo, the man with the nickel. So, boycott NFL is trending on social media. According to Trend Nation, the boycott NFL hashtag originated its very first time on Bad Machine's Twitter page. Why on earth would you want to boycott the NFL, Jim Dynamo? Well, I'll tell you why. I don't like the NFL. I don't like the NFL's social policies. I don't like the NFL's social messaging. I don't like how the NFL stood by and allowed its members to perpetuate the fraud. Hands up, don't shoot. I don't like how American millionaires, athletes, who are very lucky to be in the position that they are in, use the NFL's time to express their First Amendment rights to shit on our flag. You don't like this country, young man. You can leave it. There are many others. They play football there too. They'll pay you with a goat and maybe a couple brides that seem to be suitable to your own personal ideology of choice. I believe we should boycott the NFL simply because of the anti-white, anti-American display that we saw at this year's Super Bowl. Black Panthers marching around, parading with raised black glove fists. Well, that symbol of black supremacy and anti-white black separatism is unacceptable in my home, as I'm sure it's unacceptable in most of your homes. But the NFL doesn't think so, just like Beyonce doesn't think so, just like Mr. Kaepernick doesn't think so, just like all the other fraudsters who perpetuate all the media lies don't think so. Well, you expect me to watch your show. You expect me to utilize your sponsors. You expect me to somehow support your organization by buying products or advertising or tickets or any of these things. Well, here's how it works. Private organization, National Football League, NFL, NAFL. Oops, I slipped with that one. You don't get my money. Your players don't like this nation. Your players don't like our flag. Your players don't like the laws in this nation. Your players don't like police, law enforcement, yet they hide behind it. Then there's no reason why your players should get a portion of my labor when I purchase your products or when I solicit your sponsors. There's no need. So yes, I urge America, all of America, I urge the entire world to boycott NFL. I could go into dozens of more reasons. I could go into the domestic batterers that you harbor. I could go into the rapists that you harbor. I could go into the many anti-American statements that have been made over the decades by individuals whom you harbor. Such a scandal-plagued private organization does not deserve my money. An organization that deliberately culls from certain groups to create a social message for its viewers. Again, this is anti-American, as it is non-representative of America, or of reality. If you need your football fix, America, there are colleges all around that could use your support, either by watching them on television or by attending a local game. New Yorkers, forget about the Giants and the Jets and these little brats. Head on up to West Point and watch the Army Black Knights play football. These are the men who actually will defend you when it comes down to it, not the little crybabies who sit on the bench and sit down and cry like spoiled little brats because of a 200-year-old anthem. You don't like that anthem? Then maybe you don't like the laws. I think it's because you don't like yourself. Mr. Kaepernick. But that's me. I could point to certain characteristics that you and several other anti-American types have. But the biggest characteristic that I think is most important is that you are a millionaire, made so by the NFL, that needs to be taught a lesson in humility. You do not own the minds of all American men. You do not own the attention of all American athletes. Quite the opposite. You push us away with your pathetic messaging and your pink socks and your hands up, don't shoot nonsense and your little outbursts, tirades for something that ended 150 years ago. Well, if you're all so outraged and offended by things that occurred in the 19th century, don't mind my outrage here because of your behavior in the 20th and 21st century. So, National Football League, boycott NFL is trending. I'm proud that it's trending. I'm going to continue to push for the boycott of NFL. And in future episodes, I may get into some of your Super Bowl entertainment spectacles and what they mean to those who are uninitiated and what they mean to those who are. I know who you are, and I'll teach all of America who you are. They don't have to believe it, but there will be enough who do. In the meantime, those who don't care about the little conspiracy secrets that I'm talking about, the little circles that you weave around your viewers, that's fine. Your members express openly their disdain for this nation, our people, our beliefs, our freedoms. They mock those very freedoms with their outbursts. You want to say something, little boy? You write an essay. You put it on your webpage. If you know how to make a webpage, that is. Or you could always pay somebody with those millions. By the way, little boy, what have you done for your high school alma mater? How about the local kids where you grew up? Mr. Russo. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Kaepernick. I forgot. Your daddy split, and you were adopted by a couple that you probably despise, raised by a family that you probably resent, the fact that you have embraced such hateful ideologies, both of black supremacy and of Islamism. You're not really mentally sound enough for me to care what your opinion is. But your employers, on the other hand, do care about my opinion, and they do care that boycott NFL is trending. You're welcome, gentlemen. That's what you earned for decades of outrageous, outlandish, and unacceptable behaviors. It's my pleasure to bop you on the nose. Ooh! Looks like you were taken down at the line of scrimmage. Game over.
You're listening to Jim Dynamo, the man with the nickel. Myths of the Machine is brought to you by our sponsor, Mighty Man Limited. Be a master of the universe when you wear Mighty Man Limited athletic and sportswear, custom-designed athletic compression gear for male and female athletes, compression shirts, sports bras, yoga pants, hoodies, and more. Available only at mightyman.logosoftware.com. Be mighty. Since the time when men gathered around campfires and told tales of the warriors who challenged the monsters that gather in the dark. The mighty men who fought alongside the gods, some rising to victory, others falling to the abyss. These are the heroes who became the myths of the machine.
I said, "Why are you holding my axe?" The red-beard giant shouted at Jacob and the boy who was holding his axe. The bald barbarian, who just fell from the sky, creating a crater in the Bronx's Pelham Bay Park, reached out for the bearded axe held by the lad, when Jacob's own hand reached out, grabbing the barbarian's leather-gauntleted wrist. "This would not be a good idea for you to do this, sir," said Jacob, matter-of-fact. The bearded giant looked at his own arm, now arrested by the shabbily dressed man's grubby mitt, and at the same time he thought to himself, few of his kinsmen could achieve such a feat. He turned away from the man just slightly and swung his free left hand, now clenched into a massive fist, across his own body and into the exposed chin of the man called Jacob Matthews. Jacob saw a bright light and felt himself lift off the ground as if he were taking flight like a bird, and then only blackness. The shabby man was indeed lifted off his feet, hurtling 10 yards before crashing into a thicket of bushes and trees, which shattered and splintered as they attenuated his return to solid ground. The giant looked, stunned, at his own wrist that had been in the grip of the overcoat-wearing oaf. He grimaced as if it had failed him by being caught and prevented momentarily from reacquiring his ancient battle-axe, now held by the young boy. "Boy! Give me that!" he shouted at the lad, frozen to the spot. The boy looked at the axe that he had just found in the oak tree, then at the bald, red-bearded giant, and then at the crater he had just crawled from after impacting the earth from who knew how high or where. He looked at the unconscious man sprawled in the grove of smashed trees and Parks Department fencing. The boy shouted, "No!" and ran deeper into the woods of the urban forest. "Vos ascendente canum, aquum propta ium, ascendente!" Latin. Jacob felt the sting of the whip bite into his shoulder. "Get up, you dog! I said no water for him!" The whistling whip snapped to its terminus across Jacob's other side. "Get up!" Jacob could feel the trickle of blood from where the lash of the whip had torn his skin. Through the pain, he looked at the young woman who gave water to the fallen man. She was now wiping his face clean of the blood and sand caked upon it after the brutal scourging he had just endured. Even as she wiped the old blood from his face, the thorns forced down onto his brow drew fresh blood from every contact with the beaten man's flesh. She worked as quickly as she could, providing aid to the condemned man. The Romans and the people of Jerusalem would have their blood. She was grateful the large stranger protected her from the Roman whips, but she held no illusion. He could abandon her to the legionnaires' lashing as quickly as he had intervened. The whip whistled a third time, catching Jacob around his neck. Again, the tanned leather ripped into his skin, sending rivulets of blood down his body. Enduring the lash was one thing. Being deprived of precious oxygen, though, drove the curly-haired man to his knees, where he now collapsed to the soon-to-be-crucified man's side. He pulled at the garrote constricting his airways, his bald fists pushing into the bloody sand, desperately attempting to maintain his balance and grip on consciousness. He was slowly losing his battle. "Your faithful subjects still kneel at your side, O great king!" a legionnaire mocked the bloody prisoner. The battered man, his blood seeping through the prison toga, lifted his head to see the man at his side, being choked by the Roman leather, only for protecting a woman he didn't even know, a woman who was kind enough to give this man water. Jacob gasped for air, his tanned face darkening with constricted blood, his eyes blurring with the pressure building inside them, while under the hot desert sun. Jacob never unclenched his fist until the condemned prisoner touched it with his own bloodied and broken hand, the blood of both men becoming a viscous bond between them. Jacob felt the burning fire through his body as the sun beat down on his vaso-congested face. He presumed this was what his death no doubt felt like, as the fire burned through his body and filled his mind's eye with a golden light. Jacob thought he had heard the word, "Enough. Basta! Leave him. Take the prisoner. You! Carry his crucifix!" As the Roman whip was untangled from Jacob's throat, legionnaires pulled the thorn-crowned man to his feet, his bloody hand sliding from Jacob's own. Jacob's eyes met those of the man who held his hand but a moment before, and he saw him mouth something. "Get up." Jacob's eyes stared into the ball of hot desert sun glaring above him as his eyes closed. When he opened them again, the sun stared back at him still, as it was setting behind the Parkview condominium on the west side of I-95. Jacob tried to move, only to feel sharp stinging pain, the snapped branches piercing his back and side where he was impaled by several broken tree limbs. Jacob painfully rolled to his side, snapping the branches that held him to the park like a butterfly pinned